Hi, I'm Carla from Sagebrush, and today I'm going to show you how to use the AeroPress. You know, making coffee portable has really come a long way in recent years. And for me, being able to take a cup of coffee wherever I go has become more and more important. I like to camp and I like to hike. And so being able to enjoy a cup of coffee after I get to the top of a mountain or wherever I'm going is really nice. You just never want to be in the situation where you just don't know where you're going to get your coffee the next morning. You know, sometimes it can be a little unpredictable if you're outdoors, if you're at the top of a mountain, if you're at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, wherever you may be, having a portable cup of coffee is sometimes gives you that comfort from home that you've been missing. For me, in the past years, my favorite brewing method has been the pour over. And when I saw the AeroPress come out, I was actually really reluctant to try it because I'm very serious about my pour over actually. I like it. It just does it perfectly the way that I like it. So I was kind of skeptical. And I didn't know that the AeroPress was going to offer anything really new. So when I tried it, I was actually really surprised. So what makes the AeroPress special? You can actually mimic an espresso shot. My two favorite drinks are my pour over that I love, that I make at home exactly how I like, and an Americano. If I am ever out and I see a coffee shop and I want a cup of coffee, the drink I will choose is an Americano. The flavor of the espresso shot is just a flavor I really enjoy. And so when I tried the AeroPress, it turns out that you actually get something very close to an espresso shot with this. Now I say very close because if you know espresso shots, you get the crema, you get the body, and you get the heart. Now you're not going to get all of that in the coffee you brew out of the AeroPress, but you're gonna get the flavor, which when you're camping or you're at the top of a mountain, to be able to get that espresso flavor that you love is really just so unique. So that was what really surprised me about the AeroPress, is that I could get almost an espresso, almost an Americano, just how I like it, and I didn't have to plug it in. I didn't have to have a clunky machine that takes forever to warm up. So that's what I think separates the AeroPress from other brewing methods. Also, because it uses the same technology. If you know an espresso machine, the technology behind it is the perfect temperature, the perfect pressure, and the perfect grind. Well, with the AeroPress, you're controlling the temperature, you're controlling the grind. And while the pressure may vary depending on who uses it, the pressure comes from your hand, not from a machine. So that's where you may get some variables when it comes to your coffee cup, but you're still getting a pretty excellent flavor with the AeroPress. Okay, so here's your chamber, and here's your plunger, and here's the filter cap. Here you have your holder for your filters, and here you have your funnel in case you need it, and your stir, and your scoop. Now I'm gonna brew a cup of coffee using the traditional method with the AeroPress. I'm also gonna show you how to use the inverted method, but by no means should you feel limited by these two methods. There are many ways you can use the AeroPress. You can even use it for cold brew, but I'm just gonna show you two today. We're gonna use this grinder for today, which is the Baratza Forte, and it's available for sale here at Sagebrush. But obviously when you're on the go, you wouldn't use this one. You would want a manual grinder for that. And you know, you have to be careful with some of those manual grinders out there. I've used some bad ones. Just make sure you're real picky when you select one. And then we're also going to be using the Brazilian Pea Berry, which is one of our featured coffees right now. So now we're going to start grinding the coffee. Okay, now that it's ground, we have it ground to about a medium grind. You don't want it too fine, you don't want it too coarse for the AeroPress. So we're gonna go ahead and get our chamber, we're gonna get our filter cap. I'm gonna put the filter cap here. And sometimes you might wanna rinse this. Some people like to do that. Sometimes it helps to keep it in place if you're doing the inverted method. But we're gonna go ahead and just do it this way for today. All right, so now that we have this put together, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the coffee and water in here. 1 scoop of ground coffee is about 11.5 to 12 grams. So I'm good. And this is where, let me show you something else. This is where if you want to use it, you can put this here and use your funnel to make sure you don't make a mess. But let's say you're camping and you forget your funnel at home, you really can just put the coffee in this way. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna grab our cup, put it in here, and then we're gonna fill it all the way to the 4. I have my water ready, and the water is at 185 degrees. Once I fill it up to the 4, I'm gonna give it a little stir. You are supposed to let it sit here for about 30 seconds. So now I'm gonna go ahead and plunge it. This creates an airtight seal. So, and this is what creates, well, this is what mimics the espresso shot in a lot of ways. So we're gonna plunge. All right, so now it's all the way down, and you're gonna hear a little sound when that's done. So here you have a cup of coffee with the traditional method of brewing with the AeroPress, and it's really good. Oh, and especially that Brazilian pea berry. That's really good. One of the things that I also noticed about the AeroPress is the acidity level. It really is just a smooth cup of coffee. You know how sometimes that acidity can hit you in certain parts of your mouth? This was very soothing and very smooth, which was very surprising to me because you don't get that from other brewing methods. So that was another surprise from the AeroPress, that the acidity level was really smooth, really nice, and really low. I could tell it's low. Now I'm going to show you how to brew with the AeroPress using the inverted method. This method is kind of similar to what you would do with a French press, only obviously smaller. So we're gonna do some of the same things that we did before, only kind of backwards. So we're gonna get our chamber and our plunger. We're gonna get our cap and our filter. And this is where if you rinse it a little bit, it'll help keep it in place. We're gonna place our plunger here, and we're gonna make sure that we do it low enough so that it creates an airtight seal. And that will keep you from spilling. Okay, and then we're gonna flip it over. We're going to put our same 11.5 grams. I'm gonna go ahead and use the funnel just so that we practice using our funnel. The water that's still at 185 degrees. Let me get my cup nearby too. Okay, I'm going to pour it straight into here. I'm gonna pour it until about the 1. I'm going to stir it, and then I'm going to let it brew for about a minute. At this stage of the brewing, this is where it's called the bloom, which all the CO2 gas is released. That's really where you get a lot of the flavor, if you really let that bloom. It's been about a minute. I'm gonna make sure that's nice and tight. And now I'm gonna flip it over. You wanna do this carefully, you wanna do this quickly. It should be airtight, so we shouldn't have any leaks, but it's still watered, it's still hot. So let's go ahead and flip it over. It didn't leak at all. And now we're gonna go through the pressing process like we did with the other one. And this table's a little high, so I'm gonna kind of give myself a little more leverage, because I would do this on my kitchen counter, and then I'm waiting to hear the sound. That one, right there. We brewed a cup that was not inverted and one with the inverted process. And you may be wondering what the difference is. The biggest difference that I noticed is the flavor. The acidity level goes down significantly with the regular method, but I think it's even lower in the inverted method. The taste seemed to be a little bit smoother, even smoother than that one, which was another surprise from the AeroPress that I found. So if you're willing to kind of go through the flipping, and it may be a little bit of a more complicated process, there is actually a difference in the flavor. I have 3 kids at home, so honestly, it probably depends on how much time I have. If I need a quick cup of coffee, I'm going to do just the traditional brew. But if I've got a couple extra minutes, I'm gonna do the inverted method, just because of the smoothness of the flavor. And sometimes, you're in the mood for different things. If you want a smoother smoother flavor, if you want a little bit of a bolder flavor. But both of these actually have low acidity, which is what makes it really an exceptional cup of coffee. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how easy the cleanup is, now that that's stripped out a little bit. So I'm gonna put paper towel right here just so that you're able to see that's where the filter is. And this is as easy. This is the cleanup, how easy it is. All you do is push this and it pops right out. And that's it. Obviously, after any brew, you're gonna wanna rinse your AeroPress, but really you would do that with anything that you use anyway. We brewed an inverted cup of coffee and one that's a traditional method with the AeroPress. But by no means are these the only two ways to brew with the AeroPress. There are so many different options. It's really up to you to explore. If you're interested in finding out more about other AeroPress methods, go ahead and leave a comment for us and we'll work on creating more videos that show more ways of brewing with the AeroPress. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe on our channel. And thank you for watching.